Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rivalry, your weekly show with me, Joe Stevens, and Ryan from No Border Sports. Today we are joined by two very special guests here. Bryant Culp from channel at Bryant Culp, I believe is your name on YouTube.
Yep.
And then David McNiner, which is also David McNiner on YouTube. Correct?
That's correct.
And they have a McNiner and Culp. What's it called? The David McNiner and Bryant Culp show, or McNiner and Culp show?
It depends on whose channel it's on. If it's on Bryant's, it's the Culp and McNiner. If it's on mine, it's the McNiner and Culp.
I love it.
But it's the same show either way, you know.
You guys need to get this figured out before you make it big time.
Well, we figure if we do it this way, then if it's on my channel, you just type in my last name. If it's on David's, you type in David's, and more than likely you're going to see both of our mugs. So
Exactly. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Obviously, there's some huge news today.
What about my mug?
Your beloved franchise. I guess I'll just let the three of you kind of have at it on what you guys think. Let's start with our guests first. So we'll start with Bryant.
Guests first.
Work our way counterclockwise to me.
Well, if you guys know, I got off of East Coast Red and Gold just a few minutes ago, and it was a great show. Please go check them out.
Oh, you had a good time, huh? You got off.
Every time you get on that show and you come off, you should definitely have fun. They are a great show.
Yes,
they are really respectful. They're mature. They let you talk. They get excited, and I'm never afraid.
You taking shots? They're mature.
So, going back to their show, it was really fun. They had me and Terradome and Tony on. My wife, shout out to Tony. She's part of the Ladies of the Empire. She has two of the girls there. Bex and Jess were there, and they were awesome too. Good talking with them. Ty Austin was there, and Maddie B, very knowledgeable people. And we broke down the roster a little bit, but we talked a little bit about our current situation. And I'm going to say the same thing basically. Everybody, the sky isn't falling. He hasn't been traded yet. They didn't say that he's not going to ever be quarterback 2 or quarterback 1. They said it just depends. And you got to listen to everything, right, to finally really get a true understanding. They're going to lie. And they're going to tell the truth. And it's really hard. If you want to go with one direction, you're going to read all that, right? But if you understand that they're playing a game, and it's about going in between the lines and not letting anyone truly know what they want to do. If they come out and say, we want to trade Trey Lance, no one's going to offer anything for Trade Lance. It's Trade Lance. That's not his nickname, but it's Trey Lance is our quarterback. We drafted, went up so far to get him, put so much out there for him, and he's needed time. Then he got hurt, and he still needs time. And why are we going to say, oh, we're getting rid of this guy? Then everybody was going to be like, well, why? Why? Is he no good? No, he's good. So I want to really, really tell everybody he hasn't been traded. They didn't come out and say they're going to trade him. Yesterday, Grant Cohn asked Kyle Shanahan directly, is there a possibility that Sam Darnold and Trey Lance switch from backup quarterbacks, go 2 and 3? And Kyle said, yeah. He said it depends on the situation. We might have one running the scout team, depending on who we're playing, and the other one might get switched into the backup position. So as long as Brock is healthy, that's who we are going to be moving forward with. Understandable. The guy had a really, really, Cinderella run to really almost a Super Bowl last year, and vying his injury. If he didn't get hurt, we could have been hosting the Lombardi last year. I don't think anybody would really be saying much about Trey Lance if we were holding the Lombardi trophy last year. So, but again, he hasn't been traded, and that's what I want to emphasize: is you like him or you don't like him. The Niners haven't come out and said they're trading him. So until they say that, I'm not gonna worry.
And I think this is from an outsider's point of view too. Say they gave up a shitload to get Lance, right? And say he's not very good. Let's just say he's not very good, and they don't see it in him. At least the only thing that I would really give him credit for is not doubling down on their mistake. I think if Trey is truly a mistake, and they feel like he's truly a mistake, and they feel like they're better off with Purdy, at least they're not doubling down on it. Like I've seen the Seahawks too. I mean, they make a mistake with Jamal Adams trading 2 first-round picks for him. What do? He's not very good, and they sign him as the highest-paid safety in the league, even though he's not a safety. He's not even a linebacker. He's nothing. So
He's a gadget.
yeah, he can be, but that's the problem. He's a liability in coverage. So before you go, McNiner, I just did want to say that to Bryant. I kind of,
only to Bryant, like,
no, I kind of wanted to say it to you guys. Like, if Trey truly is a mistake, I give him props for not doubling down on a mistake, because that's where a lot of people get fired, is doubling down on mistakes.
So when it comes down to it, with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch made a decision to draft a raw project QB with high upside on a team that's built to win now. How's he going to get in the game if we're trying to win now and we're not going to be able to give him the reps he needs? This is 100% their bad. And I kind of feel bad for the kid because, from what we've seen, he goes in the game, he starts out slow, but then he ends strong. He gets stronger as he plays. So there it is. It's painfully obvious. He needs playing time. And now we got, Brock Purdy, which he's, efficient. He can run the offense. Do we know for a fact he's a dynasty 10-year plus quarterback? No, we don't. And should they put those eggs in his basket after 8 games? No, they shouldn't. Did they, and right now it's like James Richard Garoppolo. They thought he was a, franchise QB after 5 games. Signed him to a big contract. How'd that work out? And then we got like today. So, a lot of people were making a big deal about Trey not being at practice. And then a little bit later in the day, after, the Niner Empire has been set ablaze, it's burning. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan love pouring gasoline on the fire, too. I'll say that right now. Here comes Kyle saying, yeah, I talked to Trey and I gave him the day off. All these people speculating. Trey's not there because he's getting traded. All these people saying this stuff. Okay. And did you hear me say it? I said, I straight up said, if we're trading him, let's do it because, the kid, I honestly think he has a future in the league. He just needs that playing time. He needs reps. If he's not going to get it here, for his sake, it needs to be somewhere else. But for our sake, I'm looking at him like, yeah, he's raw. He's a project. But if he develops into what he can be, here's a dynasty-style QB. And then you got Kyle, who's never developed a quarterback. Look what happened with RG3. Kirk Cousins didn't start doing well until Kyle was gone. Then you got Matt Ryan, who was already established. So Kyle's got something to prove here. And it's just, can you develop a quarterback? You're naming a guy that has 55 starts to QB2. Okay. When he gets in the game, is he still going to be seeing those shadow receivers? Mm-hmm. So at this point, it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if Trey beats out Darnold during the season after getting into practice and getting some reps for that QB2 spot.
And staying healthy.
And that's exactly it. 7 seasons under Kyle, 1 with a healthy quarterback. We might actually need all 3 of these guys.
Is that true?
Yes. 2017, we had Brian Hoyer, the Destroyer, CJ Beathard, and
Nick
we also
Mullins?
had Jimmy Garoppolo. Then 2018, we had Jimmy Garoppolo, CJ Beathard, and we had Nick Mullins. 2019, we had Jimmy Garoppolo. Then 2020, we had Jimmy and Nick Mullins, CJ, and then 2021 we had Trey Lance. Well, we had Jimmy, Trey Lance, and we had Mullins, or was it CJ? I'm sorry. And then 2022 we had Lance, and we had Jimmy with Lance, Jimmy. Then it was Brock Purdy. So bad. It's been bad. Niners can't. And if you go back too, because I've done a little bit of history on this, if you go back, the Niners typically have more than one quarterback a season. We've only had like 24, 25, 26 seasons where we've had one quarterback start and finish the whole season.
Yeah, because Montana. I mean, I'm not trying to get way off topic. Montana was hurt a lot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, but that was kind of what the league was like at that point in time. You know
they were getting killed.
Yeah, and it's not that there was a guy who could just stay in there and not be injured, throughout his whole career. There was probably one or two, but what up, Seahawks Eddie? Doesn't mean that, that like what I don't get is, what do we know Trey needs, right? He needs reps, right? What is the QB2 dude? He runs a scout team, right? So this is a stupid move. What does Sam Darnold need? Ectoplasm. You don't find that on the practice field. Okay.
I thought, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I thought the third string quarterback ran the practice squad, and the second string, managed backup snaps.
No, that's why Brock Purdy was so good, because when Jimmy got hurt, Brock took over the practice squad duties, and that's why he was going up against Fred Warner and all of them, and that's why Fred Warner was mad at Purdy, because he wasn't running the certain film or the certain plays. He was doing his own thing. Well, he wasn't doing this. Yeah, you don't remember that?
We had Nate Sudfeld, who was supposed to be the second string quarterback, and then all of a sudden we sent him to Detroit. That's when Purdy became the third string quarterback officially, right? Because Jimmy took the title of second string. Jimmy wasn't practicing with the team, but he took over as second string officially week 1, So then Jimmy took over the game in week 2. That's when Purdy, week 2, became the official, backup starter.
And he was running the scout team, even though we had another quarterback on the team.
Okay, until most of the time it's a third string quarterback that runs a scout, or are you saying
no? It's the second.
Because I thought the practice squad guy, he ran a portion of the scout team.
Well, I think the practice squad guy is there for an arm for like drills to warm up for. Because think about it, Bryant. Are you going to want the practice squad guy who's going to be running with the leftovers of the 2s and the 3s? Or are you going to want the guy to go up against your defense that is good, and you can get better and make better decisions going up against better players? As far as I know, that's how it goes. QB2 is the backup quarterback. And that's like, even when I played football, JV was the scout O and scout D. You know what I mean? It's not like they were bringing in the C team with the sophomores. We had like a varsity JV and a C team. The C team did their own thing off on another field pretty much. And it was just the varsity and the junior varsity that ran up there. And like on JV, you would be the scout O and D for the first strings.
Yeah, I might be confused, and that's why we like talking. And I always, hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the way I understand it is the third string quarterback runs the scout team, because the second string quarterback needs to know what the offense is running that week. So if he's fooling around and trying to manipulate the other team's quarterback, then he's not really getting the,
That would make sense.
So why was Brock Purdy going up against Fred Warner?
Because he was third to begin with.
Yeah, but this didn't happen over like 2 weeks. He was burning us in practice. They knew, and they have been seeing it for multiple weeks, not just 2.
Maybe that's why they decided to let Nate Sudfeld go. because they seen what Purdy was doing. I know in the preseason games last year, Purdy was lighting it up, but he was only playing with the 3s and 4s. So, he wasn't playing with the 1s. And I know that's what the crack was, but you've seen the little bit of, I don't know, magic that he had in the field last year during preseason game, especially I want to say the third preseason game, the last one, he really turned it up on that game. So,
and then those first play that he got in the regular season looked horrible.
The bobble snap with Jordan.
Yeah. But to me, that that's one of those things. It's like Moody missing the kicks. You know what I mean? To me, that's nerves. You know what I mean? Like it clearly didn't happen like that again in that situation. You know what I mean? So you got to give someone at least the first one free, kind of. You know what I mean? Just to be right, you kind of got to wipe the first one clean and just be like, it's just some things that happens. Now it keeps adding up, aka math. It keeps adding up. Then you got an issue.
Well, they started running the ball too. That was against the Chiefs, and not running the ball, but moving the ball well afterwards. And again, that was 2 rookies. That was Mason, and that was Purdy. That didn't have the right left or right. On the snap turnaround. When you're the quarterback, you're supposed to know. I go left, I go right. The running back's going to be right here. If not, then you have like an advent. You have a moment where you have to just make a game play. And I don't think they were on the same page at all. But later in the game, I believe it was Ray McLeod, Purdy really started lighting it up. I believe it was McLeod who started catching some slants in that game. And we didn't go on to win the game, but he definitely started moving the ball at the end. So I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things. I'm not going to, again, take too much stock into anything until they tell me for sure someone isn't going to be back here. And at this point, just stay faithful, everyone. That's what we can do.
So when Purdy came in that game, I believe it was a blowout and got some reps.
That was the Chiefs.
I actually said, we were on with Wolfcast, and I said Purdy wasn't Purdy.
Yeah.
I think I remember that the first game, people kept saying that. Like a bunch of people kept saying that. And I took that and ran with it because I'm like, dude, the Niners season is over. Like, this division is ours. Like, let's be honest. I thought so. But, yeah, go ahead. I remember that.
Well, then he came in during the Dolphins, after James Richard Garoppolo did, James Richard Garoppolo stuff and got injured. And all of a sudden, here he is. He shows up. We win that game. And I'm sitting there going, I'm not ready to anoint him yet. And he goes throughout the rest of the season, wins all those games, all the way to the Eagles game. And then the Eagles, knock him out of the game. And that was pretty much our season at that point.
Yep.
But it's, again, he's only started 8 games. I'm not ready to anoint him. I haven't seen enough, and here's Kyle going, oh, this guy that has 55 starts is QB2. And I mean, when it comes down to it, if you think that to back in the day, yeah, we had Joe Montana and Steve Young. Steve Young sat, and after being on Tampa, which Tampa Bay was trash back then.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came to us. That West Coast offense is incredibly complicated. You're not learning that in one season. So he sat on the bench. He thoroughly learned the offense, and then he came in and played great. He was a different QB. Can Sam Darnold do the same thing? Maybe. But I'm thinking he hasn't grasped the whole playbook yet. So
question for you guys, I guess, because sorry, I'm not trying to cut anybody off.
No, but you're the moderator.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I'm listening.
Yeah.
Me and Ryan are. But out of all 3 quarterbacks, because you guys are in win now mode, I will admit that. I think if Purdy doesn't go down during that Philadelphia Eagles game, I think it was just as much of basically, as much as it was an actual talent problem, it felt like a total mental problem after he went out too. Right? So even with Josh Johnson there, I mean, it's like they knew, like, okay, this guy isn't doing shit. And then especially when he went out there, it was just sad to watch, right? Because You had Purdy in there throwing literally like 2 yards down the field, maybe. Who do you think right now, as it stands, who do you think gives you the best chance to win a Super Bowl if they play all 17 games, play the whole postseason? Which one do you guys think? We'll start with you, Ryan, this time because.
What's that? Sorry.
Who do you think, out of the 3 quarterbacks, honest to God, like who do you think is most ready to win you guys a Super Bowl this year, all 17 games, injury aside?
That's so tough because we haven't seen the Brock of last year back yet. You know what I mean? Because right now I would have to say it's Brock. You know what I mean? Like, but we haven't seen that same. It doesn't seem like all of his game is there. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't. To the point where he's not even attempting some throws. That sack in that first drive, could that have been avoided by just a throw over that defender? But it seemed to me like he didn't feel he could make it. So he didn't want to put it on tape, and he went to do something else and then lost time and got sacked. So I don't know what's going on until I see a Brock Purdy who looks close to what's going on. I don't feel that Sam could do it. And what I've seen from Trey is like he starts off slow. It seems like he gets better, but I don't know how we haven't seen a full game. So I can't say if after the second half he doesn't need to warm up again or, you know, something. We haven't seen a team really be able to get in a groove, do something, and then to make certain adjustments on him. We haven't seen that either. So yeah. To me, like, and you know, I'm biased towards wanting to see Trey play, but this is honestly what's going through my head. It's like, it's a two-way tie. It's a two-way tie between Purdy and Lance. I really don't have faith in Darnold when it comes down to it in the third quarter for him to make good decisions with the game on the line.
Yeah. I don't know. Also,
he's got that MO.
I was going to ask you guys too this before we get, sorry, I'm so off topic. Well, I guess it's kind of all on the same topic, but I'm kind of just picking your guys' brain a little bit, if that makes sense. Because, I mean, there's been a little bit of news with Seahawks today, but nothing like what's blown up. I mean, this is like a national story, right? So, Ryan, how much – I know you say that he gets better throughout the game. How much is that the talent decreasing because it's the preseason? So they're bringing in the third stringers instead of the second stringers. The defensive talent, I mean, obviously, that he's playing against. Sorry.
All right. Ryan and Steve-O are having at it. So I want to answer the question. Sorry, Joe. And I think David does too. Who's the better quarterback? Not better quarterback, but who gives us the best chance right now? It's got to be Brock Purdy. He does seem like he's mastered the offense. He has more playing time. He has more experience running an offense. He might not be able to throw the ball the length of the field, but he knows how to maneuver and get into position to put his playmakers into the best situation. And what's really interesting about the Niners, we've been building this team for a couple of years. I know you've been paying attention. You guys are usually the team that's been dominant in this conference for quite a while now. So we made a little bit of noise in the last 20 years, but you guys have been number one, basically.
Well,
out of everybody, real quick, you know, the Cardinals and the Rams have been to multiple Super Bowls, you know, and so has the Seahawks. So it's not like we're the only one, you know, that's going through this. You know, there's been ups and downs, but Brock Purdy's played 4 years in high school, 4 years in college. He's come into our team. He's been able to turn around and move and have those, I don't know, Jake the Snake moments, Kenny Stabler moments. You know, who else? You know, we had.
I think Bryant.
Plummer,
I think you just got Jake. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're right. I was
thinking of Jake Plummer.
I was trying to think of Jake Plummer, but No, there's been multiple quarterbacks where they have this like itch factor about them, Rich Gannon had the same thing. So what I'm getting at is it's not that Trey Lance can't do it. It's we haven't seen enough of it where we have seen it with Brock. And I do disagree with Ryan. I'm not gonna. Oh, I was at the game, but I was at the game and I did get to see him. He moved the ball. He moved. The team had confidence with him. There was a swag about it. Sure, they ran out and celebrated when Lance and what's his name scored. It happened, right? They're excited. The team's excited about each other because it's like a brotherhood out there. They don't want these guys leaving, and they're all there together. They're going to hoist it together. But the thing with Brock in for the scramble where he got sacked and stuff, no, I don't think he could have like thrown the ball at that moment. It was either I'm going to run, and he got caught from behind. He made a move. He was able to elude some pressure. He didn't get hit the way he could have got hit. It was like a smart move for him to go down the way he did and not take an injury. He didn't put the team in a position where we couldn't score. That's kind of what you want, and you don't want a quarterback taking negative yards. You want them to always go forward. It's the same thing. And my point, you got people like Mitchell, CMC, you got Devo, you got Ayuk, you got an offense that is ready. They just need the ball to be delivered to them, and they can go out there and make yards after the catch, score touchdowns. We got Kittle. We got so many playmakers. We just need Sam Darnold comes out, and he's going option one, boom, ball's out, and he's getting to the playmakers. I'm confident that even Sam Darnold's going to take this team to the Super Bowl. I don't know what the win record would be, the win-loss record would be. I think Purdy has, the opportunity to get us more wins, but Trey could come in and do really well. Sam could come in and do really well. I'm not the mindset, oh, you were on a team for this many years and you're bad. No, you could have been in a bad situation. There's only so much you can get out, of an orange. You squeeze all the juice. There's a little drop coming out left. I mean, again, he was in New York and Carolina. New York rebuilt. Carolina rebuilt. The Niners aren't.
I don't know. He played all right in Carolina last year. I don't think he played shitty in Carolina last year whatsoever. I think I'm not afraid of Sam Darnold. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I'm really not afraid of Sam Darnold, but Darnold on the right team, maybe. Yeah. If he has to come in like Jimmy G or like Purdy did last year because something happens to Brock or something happens to Trey. I mean, like I said, after seeing what you guys did last year with a third-string fucking quarterback, and, I'd never pray for injuries on anybody. I never pray for injuries on anybody. But when a key injury happens to other team, in the back of your head, you're thinking, okay, well, fucking sweet for us, right? Obviously, they're not going to be able to do anything. They come in with Jimmy G. They look solid. It's like, okay, fuck. And then Jimmy G goes down. And you're like, okay, well, here's the blow that's going to happen to the 49ers. Because that's what happened, I think, the last couple of years, right? They get hurt, and then their season goes down the toilet. And you guys didn't. And so, to be completely honest, I'm afraid of that roster. I really am as a Seahawks fan. Yeah, I am. I'm scared of Darnold playing quarterback for you guys. If you can make the right throws and that offensive line can protect, because that's the problem in the wild card game, the Seahawks in the first half were getting tons of pressure on Purdy, right? So he wasn't able to make those deep crossers. Second half comes, you guys made an adjustment, we got tired, vice versa. It doesn't matter. It was not a game anymore, So, anyways. Sorry to go off on that tangent, but
no. Again, it's nice that you're stepping in and taking a little bit of a break between everybody's opinions because then we can all readjust. And David's gonna want to say something too here, but it's really we didn't miss a beat with a third string quarterback, and it's like okay,
and that's crazy because it seemed like you didn't miss a beat with the second string quarterback. And no. Didn't even get to see what the first fucking string quarterback did because they ran him like a running back, which is not, I will admit with you guys, like I said, completely unbiased. I don't think the first game running Trey Lance like a halfback was a problem because of the conditions of that game. But the first couple drives against us running him like a halfback, that was, let the kid throw the ball if he's a quarterback. Right. So anyways.
Yeah.
David, who do you think out of all three? So far we got Culp with Purdy. We got Ryan tied with Lance and Purdy. Who do you think gives you the best chance to win a Super Bowl? Like I said, injuries aside, starting all 17 games through the playoffs.
Right now, Brock Purdy, because he's the most polished. Even Sam Darnold having 55 games, I don't think he's as polished as Brock Purdy is.
Okay.
And that's just simply how it is. I mean, long term, I definitely want to see Lance get reps and get some playing time. Just because, in my opinion, we don't know if Brock Purdy's the type of quarterback that can carry a dynasty, and that's what I want. That's what I've wanted ever since Steve Young retired. I've wanted another QB that can go 10 plus years and, get multiple rings in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't happened. We've been the Alex Smith pick. When that happened, I was like, it was either him or Karen Rodgers,
Hey, that's not funny, okay? That's not. I thought you actually mispronounced his name. I'm just kidding. I got you.
But, at that point, our whole organization was this organization. We were dysfunctional. We were garbage. The Yorks were learning what they were doing. They were hiring people they thought could run the team, and, coaches they thought would work out. And it was one of those. Karen Rodgers could have had a totally different career if he would have been drafted by it.
Well, who's to say that Alex Smith isn't Aaron Rodgers if he goes to Green Bay, right? And sits behind Favre.
That's exactly it. Yep,
so,
that's exactly it. And
because that's what a lot of people always bring this up, not to go back to 2005 right now, but a lot of people bring up the fact that, the 49ers messed up so bad by passing on Aaron Rodgers. They would have inserted him into the starting lineup week 1, and he probably would have failed miserably, just like Alex Smith did.
Yes. And had 7 coordinators in 7 years, and his career would have took a different trajectory.
All only if he came in his first play like Alex Smith and got hurt. Alex Smith came in on his very
Julian
first
Peterson,
play, and he injured his throwing shoulder. Boom. After that, we started going downhill. And then Alex cost Mike Nolan to get fired. He cost Singletary to get fired.
Tom Sula.
Yeah, Jimmy T. We like to call him Jimmy T because he's our friend. Shout out to Jimmy.
Hold on, no. Alex Smith was gone before Jim Tomzula took over.
No, he was our coach for that 1 year, for that one game. After Singletary got fired. But Singletary, he was tired of Alex. He wanted Alex gone. He was trying to put Troy Smith in there. He tried to put JT O'Sullivan in there. Again, Alex is very smart because he had 7 different playbooks, and I like Alex. I'm a big Alex fan. But I really think to tell somebody that you didn't draft him because he didn't open up the car door for his mom, get out of here.
That's an urban legend. That's an urban legend.
I heard another story. I heard they were having him do like some calisthenics, like jumping jacks and hop on one leg, and Aaron Rodgers wouldn't do it, and Alex Smith did. That's what I heard. I didn't hear anything about opening the door for mom, though.
That was exactly what Mike Nolan said. He said the reason, and I'll find the clip and I'll send it to you. But he said the reason we drafted Alex Smith, it's he opened up once we see he opened up the door for his mom. We knew that was their guy. Aaron Rodgers came out with some kind of attitude, some kind of and they just had this vibe about him. Even him coming out maybe arrogant. And it's true. If he would have started right away, he probably wouldn't have been what he is now or what he became with Green Bay. But I don't think Alex sitting behind over there would have. I don't know, guys. Alex Smith doesn't have the same. Alex Smith is the Brock Purdy, and Aaron Rodgers is the Trey Lance. I mean, that's the ceilings are so much different.
Let's get off this for just a minute.
I still think it was Mike McCarthy.
Maybe.
Just want to say
Maybe.
my two. You know about that, right?
Yep.
Supposedly Mike McCarthy put the kibosh on it. That's I think that might have some truth
Wait,
to it.
Mike
but
McCarthy, like the Packer, Aaron Rodgers coach, Mike McCarthy.
yes. So think about that. Like he's
Can't
in
beat him,
the
join him, I guess, right?
well, you only get one chance to get a job, and it's not like you're like, I am not going to go in there and play with Aaron Rodgers.
Well,
You know, I don't want to
the
coach
top
Aaron
dude,
Rodgers. Ew. You know what I mean? Like he had already seen him at that time. He was probably going, oh shit, I hope nobody, if it's true, he's probably going, oh shit, I hope nobody really finds out it was me, you know, now, because now I'm on the team with the guy and he's a great player. And if he decides to say, yeah, fuck you and your dreams, hopes and dreams, bitch, I could, you're not getting the best out of my quarterback. What's wrong with you, coach? You know what I'm saying? He's got some power.
Yeah, for real.
So-
Man, we had Mike Martz, we had Jim Mora, we had so many, Norv Turner, we had so many different coordinators for Alex.
All the greats. We've had a lot of greats.
Another question, kind of getting off the quarterback topic, because I realize it's honestly like it's kind of a touchy subject right now, and it won't be in 2 weeks. Maybe it won't be in 3 weeks. Whatever.
It will be for
It
years.
was
kinda-
definitely in 3
It will
weeks.
be for years.
Part
I
of
don't
me,
think-
part of me for like honestly,
Until
part of
the
me gets
book
kind of uncomfortable hearing you guys talk about 49ers quarterbacks right now, and everybody fucking fighting, it's fucking chaos. Because Bryant has a different opinion than McNiner, and McNiner has a different opinion than Ryan, and Ryan has a different opinion than Bryant. I
But we
asked
have
Ted,
all respect for each other.
I
You know
asked
what I mean?
Ted. I don't know if I have respect for Bryant, but I'm just kidding.
You're right. Tony's the
matter.
one you really need to respect.
You're
Kickers
right.
matter, all right?
Tony, don't kick my ass. I did want to ask you guys. So I asked Ted this question earlier today. I was in the chat when Ted was talking to some lady. I forget her name. You guys
Gina.
probably Gina.
Rep of the Bay.
I asked him, you guys go 14-3, lose the NFC Championship game in overtime by like 3 points. The score's like 27-24. Really it's a well-fought game, well officiated. What are your thoughts leaving the season? Say you do that.
Super Bowl or bust.
Are you
Yeah.
disappointed?
Depends.
Disappointed.
Always. Losing in the playoffs hurts bad.
Yeah,
It's been
Flush
fun
the
to-
toilet. The whole
especially
season's
when you
gone.
have confidence in your team. You know what I mean? To be able to do it, especially when like the math on paper adds up. You know, when you got all these players playing at a high level, like last year when we were going into the playoffs, we had guys who were just running on all cylinders. And to me, it was like, man, we got a chance. I thought it was pretty much a great chance to get to the Super Bowl without any like real like gasps or, hiccups or anything along the way.
What
because
year?
they were
Last
just-
year?
Yeah, last year, because we were steamrolling.
I thought so too. And that's another thing though. I was
But
talking,
also, this is the other thing. You got to have context of what the season is. So are we squeaking by? Is there limitations that are being shown by certain players? There's certain things like you never know what could happen. And that's why it's like Jaquaski Tart dropped the interception against the Rams that could have sent us to the Super Bowl, and we probably would have shellacked them. The Bengals probably would have shellacked the Bengals. So yeah. That's a different, there's context right there. You know what I mean? This big context. It's not just losing the ball there. There's a play that could have things, even though I don't blame Tart, but like a lot of people were like, get Tart out of here. He needs to go, which I understand that emotion. You know what I mean? It's coming from pain. You know what I mean? To me, it's a little irrational, but it's coming from a place of pain, which I understand. You know what I mean? Like I get irrational when I'm really hurt. You know what I mean?
That's what happened with Jimmy when Jimmy lost the Super Bowl for the 49ers, because we don't blame anybody
Kyle
else.
Shanahan.
We only blame the quarterback. The quarterback's the one we don't blame the kicker. We just blame the quarterback, right? The quarterback is Jimmy, and he lost the Super Bowl. He overthrew it. He closed his eyes. He changed the play, whatever, right? We wanted him gone. A lot of people, then they started, you had so many people coming out and saying, oh man, I knew it before the season started. Jimmy wasn't the guy. He wasn't the guy. But when he ran off 2017, the 5 games in a row, everybody was like, Jimmy G, baby. Everybody was singing it,
You guys.
Also, hey, think real quick. Remember that story that came out that, what was it? That Jimmy could have came back, but he didn't. So Kyle immediately was like, we're moving on from him. We're doing all this and that. That could also be that same type of decision. He felt hurt, felt like, somebody Jimmy didn't have the team's back or his back. So he's like, well, screw you. I'm going to find somebody who can and who does.
Yeah, you got to realize too, it's not just talent that wins a Super Bowl. It's an extreme amount of luck. Because most years, the best team in the NFL doesn't win the Super Bowl. I mean, I realize it's easy to say with the Patriots and the Chiefs winning Super Bowls. But I just feel like, it just – a lot of times it comes down to who's healthy at what time. Because I think – we lost McNiner. Oh, he's back. The 2014 Super Bowl, we lost to the Patriots. I just feel like it's just, if the Legion of Boom was healthy during that game, I don't even think it would have been a ball game. But Sherman was playing with a strained shoulder, and then Earl had an elbow, and Cam had a shoulder thing or a leg thing. I don't remember, but all 3 of them were hurt going into that game. So got to look at it that way too. It's not easy to win Super Bowls. I mean, obviously, even being a Super Bowl favorite, the odds are still stacked against you, right?
Do you think Russell changed the call?
No.
I think he did.
I don't.
I think he was a bitch, a prima donna bitch.
I would love to say that, you know how much I love to hate on Russell. I know you've been on here.
That's why I'm saying it for you. I'm saying it for you, dog.
This guy, James Durnall, nice having you. I don't think I've seen you before. Make sure to like and subscribe all of our channels.
Yes, please, James.
He says, I know it's a bad take, but as a Niners fan, I want Lance to go to the Hawks and haunt Kyle for the rest of his career. It sickens me what they've done to that kid.
Yeah, James. I part of me, I think I almost said that. Did I say that on the phone with you earlier?
No,
I thought about saying it, but I was like,
I said, I hope they cut him and the Seahawks sign him and he sits behind
dude,
Gino.
I was just like, it would just be Kyle. It would be rubbing his nose in his own shit 2 times a year. You know what I mean? Like, he's the bad dog. He pooped in the house. Now you got to have your nose rubbed in it twice a year.
I think, honest to God, I think if you guys have an off season, say you finish 9-8, miss the playoffs, because even injuries, something like that. I know you guys don't want to think that way. I think Kyle's out of there. I think patience is running thing. You guys don't think so, Bryant?
No, he's pretty much cemented in. You think about it, his dad coached for the Niners. He finally got his buddy, his little kid friend. He says he didn't babysit him. I don't know if that's true or not. I think it was. Kyle, CMC used to come to Kyle's house when he was younger and get babysitted.
When his dad played for the Broncos?
Yeah.
So Ed McCaffrey used to be a 49er. Ed McCaffrey, CMC's dad, won a Super Bowl with Mike Shanahan.
He was a Niner? I just remember him as a Bronco.
So he won, what I want to say, 2 Super Bowls. I know
he wasn't a starting wide receiver then.
He's won 3 Super Bowls. He won the 94 Super Bowl. Then he went on to win the 2 Super Bowls with the Broncos, 97, 98, under Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan and him become friends, and their kids started playing together, or somebody was watching CMC in that house. Okay. So now it's all come together full circle, because there was rumors that we were going to try to get CMC when he was coming out. And that would have been awesome. I don't think Kyle was on the team at that time, but we still really have always liked CMC, Stanford guy, California guy. So I think it's going to have to be multiple seasons where you can really truly blame Kyle. You can't blame him on an injury. You'd have to blame him on going for it on 4th down and then not getting it multiple games, or you know, I mean, like at this point, Kyle goes in and says, "What's up, Jed?" And Jed's all, "Hey, Kyle, what's going on?" Kyle is like Jed's older brother almost in a sense. Jed looks up to Kyle, and I don't know if it's something that happened when they were younger, you know, because Jed, you know, used to be there at the facilities with his uncle Eddie. So somewhere those two's met each other, and I don't know, guys. I just don't see Kyle going anywhere anytime soon. I just know it's been 29 years since we've won a Super Bowl, and we've been to 2 since then. And it's getting really, really, really sickening to hear other people, you know, they've been there multiple times, or now there's the Patriots, and they've been multiple times, and they've lost and still went back multiple times and won. Why can't we do it? And it's because we keep changing our coaching. You got to keep a coach. You guys, Seahawks, how long have you had Pete Carroll? How long has the Steelers had Tomlin? Andy Reid was in Philadelphia for how long?
This will be year 13.
Yep.
But we've only won 1 Super Bowl. I mean, that's
And
why
they won it at the
Yeah,
beginning
right.
of his coaching career. Same with Steelers.
yeah.
You've been there twice, you know, and then on top of that, you guys were in the Super Bowl in the early 2000s. You guys lost, but you still, you know,
Mid
were
2000s.
competitive.
And we didn't lose. We got played. It's fine. Don't bring that one up.
Yeah, we won't talk about the refs.
Yeah, the
We know
refs,
it. We
refs
tell-
really fucked them.
we know what the refs are like. We see those zebras, but
Oh, God.
Yeah, I don't
You
know.
see
guys.
Bosa's jersey? Joking.
it's ripped in half. You know, it said Superman on it, but
Bro.
in half.
God. It's like he's like the only player who's got what's that stuff that hangs down the, you know, they had a jacket, the leather jackets with the
the tassels?
frill. Not tassels, they call it something like fringe or whatever. Like he had his jersey just had like pieces just ripped off, like thread from the jersey removed from the actual woven part, pulled out and just like wibbling in there. You know what the hell you have to do to get that done in one game? 4 quarters. 4 quarters.
James Darnall is coming in with some fucking heat tonight. I'm sorry. If there's one guy that's pissed in the fan base, it might be James Darnall. He needs to get with Ted because Ted's been raging lately. And I was
gonna push back on the no injury. They can't blame injuries. There's certain times you can't, but like look at this season. If we start out slow and Kyle just decides to do nothing but feed CMC, right? Because look, if you call in a run play, he's gonna get the ball, right? If you call a pass play where he goes, Purdy's gonna check down a lot to him. You know what I mean? It's a really great option. So not only is going to get every touch when he runs the ball, but he's going to get a third to a half of the touches when the ball's passed. It's just how it's going to be. And that could be something that Kyle could have him run into the ground about. You know what I mean? He runs players into the ground. We've had issues with injuries, and it's not like there's a lot of factors that play into that. Well, there is a lot of factors, but you know, like you would see it be the same around the league, kind of, you know what I mean? Because everybody's doing the kind of the same shit.
Yeah.
It just, I don't,
Bro, I'm sorry, guys. I gotta cut you guys off. James Darnall is pissed, and I'm just loving the energy. If he was a Seahawks fan, I'd love the energy too. But just trying to, you know, seeing his picture up there, seeing he's pissed. And he also lives in England, so he's pissed from a different country right now. That's how mad the 49er fandom faithful, you guys. That's how mad the faithful is right now.
Right. James, were you the guy on Ted Show the other day asking for the 53-man roster, our predictions on the 53-man roster? Because I appreciate your intensity, because I am really upset earlier. Like, I almost wanted to yell when I was talking to Joe on the phone. And it's like, Joe didn't do shit, but I was just pissed that I wanted to be like, this motherfucker, you know what I mean? And now that I got on YouTube, I'm able to kind of, you know, explain it without being such an asshole. You know what I mean? But
yeah, so I call backstory. I'm driving home from work. I'm like, I'm just gonna call it. So we're supposed to do the shows Thursday. Anyways, we're moving back to Wednesday. after Jess's show, so we're probably going to start about 6:37 every Wednesday. I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to call him to see how he's feeling. Because, like, I just, I kind of see what you guys are all doing. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to call him. So I call him. I go, hey, man, what's up? He goes, did you hear that Sam Darnold's quarterback number 2? I go, yeah, I heard. Just kind of checking in on you. How you doing? And
I was like, you want to do a show later? He's
yeah,
like, yeah, Brian
was
asked
his
if you
first
want to do
thing.
a show. So like,
He goes, I think we should go live. And I was like, well, Brian texted me. He wants to go live. So let's fucking do it.
I got some shit to say.
Do you mind if we get to the Hawks for just a second?
Please.
Before I forget. So Jamal Adams is coming off the PUP list. That's some fucking good news for the Seahawks. He'll kind of play a rover position this year, I believe, because I think Julian Love is going to start strong safety. Let's see if he can strive in it, if he can improve his pass coverage like he was with the Jets. And then some other news, Jackson Smith and Jigba, our rookie receiver, broke his wrist. He will be out. He'll probably play week 1, so we're not too worried about it. But those are the two big stories coming out of Seattle today. And also part of me is thinking like it might be like a 40% we win the division this year. I'm feeling pretty good about this team. I'm feeling pretty damn good about the Seahawks this year. How are you guys feeling about the Hawks? Are you at least a little nervous, or?
I'm not necessarily nervous about the division. The reason that is because if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have to worry about a division. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying like I think, our whole season's wrecked because Brock Purdy's the starting quarterback, but I haven't seen Brock of last year yet. And it's just like, if he was okay to play a month ago, essentially, then why aren't we seeing like and hearing better news about things? That's what's like, I'm not hearing of like that throw getting any better.
I think it will. Honest to God, you guys, like, this is just me. Like,
I'm not saying it won't. What I'm saying is like, until you have everything in your bag, I don't think Kyle Shanahan will do anything to really sabotage the team, in my opinion. Okay, so one of the biggest things we do in our offense is hit that deep crosser. And if he's having issues with that deep crosser ball, which we didn't see him hit in the preseason game.
Last time we seen him hit it was probably the wild card game against the Seahawks.
He missed it in practice. It was a 50-yard pass that fell at 38.
Yeah, this is the deep crosser. The deep crosser he was trying to throw when he actually got his arm hit. That's the same deep crosser. So to me, I'm just like, if he can't hit that play, especially because if you looked at like Jimmy Garoppolo's passes throughout the year, and you look at Brock Purdy's passes throughout the year, somebody had a diagram up. It was like part on the field where the league average is throwing, right? And then it was where Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy is throwing. And if you looked, Brock Purdy was really like his dots in the center of the field where we throw that deep crosser. His ones were really like, you could see him really well. Jimmy's was kind of blurred out a little bit. So you could tell that Brock was a little more on point with his throws. But that's the section of the field. That's the section of the field that you know what it is? It's right before the receiver gets to the linebacker, and it's right after the wide receiver clears the linebacker. And that's where those two windows are. So if you can't consistently hit those windows, that's an issue in our style of offense. That's one of the reasons why, like, we had an issue with Trey, because he couldn't throw any touch on some of those shorter crossers that are big in our offense also, because we need the short little dink dunks. He was having issues on the dink dunks because he didn't know how to put touch on it because he was muscling everything. So he couldn't couldn't like arc anything over there. Everything was on a frozen wire or frozen rope.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so us not having a guy who can reach all those windows is an issue. It is a big issue. And it makes us more one-dimensional as we go, because then teams start crowding everything. Because if he can't, this is where we at with Jimmy G. Jimmy G couldn't confidently throw deep. What did defenses start doing? Crowding the box, making it harder for us to run.
So you guys have the Steelers week 1.
Yeah.
That's a tough matchup. I thought you guys had the Cardinals week 1. So we got the Rams week 1. But
we got Cardinals week 3, I think.
I mean, honest to God, you guys, no matter who's in a quarterback, aren't you guys a little bit excited just for fucking football to be back?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now. I'm like, dude, I'm tired of hearing about the injuries. Tired of hearing about preseason play. I just want fucking football.
Our offense and our offensive line start extremely slow.
Mm-hmm. Which is scary for Purdy too.
Exactly. It's scary for anybody, actually. Let's just be honest. It's scary for anybody. We also got Colton McKivitz, who's the first-year starting right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't bode well necessarily, because I have a feeling the first game he's going to be like a deer in a headlight. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Or at least some of the time, because they're going to put TJ Watt on his ass. You know what I mean? Like, that is going to happen.
You know, they're not lining him up across the left tackle. You know, they're lining him up on the right side of the offense. So
I would at times, but like I also heard somebody said that he's just a left end, because he's got more moves that he can do. He's got like 2 moves that he can do on the left side that he can't really do from his right side. So
okay,
that's another thing that doesn't bode well.
Bryant, what are you looking forward to going into the season? I guess, like, what are you most excited for? I'm trying to get the negative talk out of here. I really am.
No worries.
Brian's great for positive talk.
Yeah, I know he is. Brian's like, if you want something positive, I'm like, let's fucking find Bryant, because he will find that.
He'll put a sunshine on anything.
So one thing that's like always fun, even when your team's losing, you know, I know you have a good team. I have a good team. David, you know, Ryan, we all have good teams, right? It's fun. You know, I know you go to stadiums, you go to games more, you know, and that's cool. But when you're not at the stadium, I'm sure you have barbecues, you have eat outs, you have get-togethers, you go over to friends, you play fantasy football. So for me, like, this is like the funnest time of the year for me. First off, my birthday's coming up. You know, I'm like, yeah, we got football. I always like wearing 49er stuff throughout the year, but now it's like, yeah, let's start wearing it.
Now it's like it matters. And if you don't, you're going to cause bad luck to your team, because that's how I am.
I feel like, you know, I should wear my Niners stuff throughout the year, right? Because just because they stop playing, I should still support my team. I might not wear it 7 days a week, but when it's football season, I'm usually I don't have too many different shirts anyways. I got 49er shirts and Batman shirts. So I'm wearing one of the two, and I got some Volkswagen shirts. So, I mean, I'm a pretty simple guy, you know, white t-shirt and sometimes a couple collar shirts, and I'm good to go. But for me, like, it's just the anticipation, you know. Again, I like to look at the team and say, hey, win or lose, you know, I'm watching the whole game because I want to see what we can do. Even at the end of the game, there's a chance we can come back. One of my memories in being a child, we got to go to the Niner Raider game in Oakland. My dad bought tickets for the whole family. There was 5 of us. We all got to go, and it was really cool. My mom, my 3 brothers, my 2 brothers at the time, and yeah, the Niners won, so I felt really good. I didn't feel good my dad's team lost, because I could see, you know, he was really emotional about it in his eyes. He didn't, but he was upset that he paid this money and his team didn't win. But for me, like, that's what's exciting to me, is like getting the fans to be able to come and do stuff like that, and the family together, doing events where you're going to be able. But my point is, there was a lady who was behind us, and she had maybe 1 or 2, you know, drinks, right? And she's standing behind it. And you guys remember Angels in the outfield, you know, JP. It can happen. I believe, right? She's standing behind him doing like this angels in the outfield thing. I believe. So like for the rest of like since 1998, I believe 1998 or 99, that's the game we went to. It was the first Battle of the Bay since Oakland moved back to, since they moved from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. Damn, they move around a lot. But since they moved back to Oakland, we've always said it. It's one of those things. My dad, my mom will be in the, watching the game, and like the game will get tight, and somebody will say, "I believe," and it's always referring to that drunk lady in the crowd. So for me, it's exciting because I know I'll get a couple of games with my brothers. They'll come by. My dad will come by. More than likely we'll get some uncles. Tony's got uncles. All my family lives really out of state except my immediate family. So it's just one of those things. It's like I like watching the game on Thanksgiving, on Christmas. It's just something for me to look forward to. I like playing fantasy football, so I like hearing about the other teams and stuff. So when we get this close to football and stuff like that, I don't really listen to so many of the negatives because it doesn't matter. We have sleepers. Yeah, shout out to the X-Files, Scully and Mulder, right? I used to get scared, super scared. That TV, I'd have to go to bed at 9 o'clock and the show would be on, and my mom and dad would turn the TV up a little bit. I don't know if it was to mess with me and my brother, but it sure did. I would be like, God, like, oh my gosh. I'd be like, now I can't go to sleep. And my brother, he just likes to talk a whole lot when he's like trying, and I'd be like, I'm trying to close my eyes and go to sleep. I got the X-Files in the background. My brother's really scared of UFOs and stuff. So I'm like, this is not going to end well for me at all. So I think they used to come on Sunday nights. Never got sleep Sunday night.
The aliens are going to get you, Bryant.
Oh, they'd get my brother. That's what he was afraid of. So I had to stay awake, because he wouldn't let me go to sleep. So I can protect him, like I'm like, Mark, you're gonna be fine, if they don't bring you back, that means they like you.
I remember watching that show and being disappointed at like the end of it every single episode because they never found the aliens.
Oh man, shout out to the Cancer Man, Smoking Cancer Man, and oh man,
there's so many weird things.
They had a lot of good episodes, but no.
Do you remember Dark Skies?
Barely. I remember Sliders.
It was a show about some weird Sliders? Stuff. Huh?
Do you remember the TV show Sliders?
Yeah.
That one was cool. It was a TV show, and this guy was traveling through different dimensions, and they were sliding through different. It was really cool. You remember the TV show The Pretender?
I think so.
The Pretender, he was super smart. He was taken when he was a kid, and he was trained to do almost every job. So then he broke out of this facility, and next thing you know, he's doing random jobs until they catch up to him, and then he's on the run again. So he's in there like operating on somebody. He's like, "Oh, I found an extra watch." Like he's not crazy like that, but it was just fun because he was like a news reporter, and he always found like. Whatever episode it was, he found like a criminal case and he solved it. Like somebody was doing wrong and he ended up exposing that person. And then he went on to the next job. It was, oh my gosh, that was cool. TV's great.
I think this shows the age gap between me and McNiner here because I'm 25 and I have no idea what you guys are talking about. And he's older than you guys, and he has no idea what you guys are talking about.
Oh, I watched the X-Files, but a couple of those shows, it's like...
Yeah, no, I've heard of the X-Files. The X-Files, obviously, like, everybody heard of it. I've never watched it. But when you guys are talking about that shit, you can tell that you two are the same age, and me and McNiner are, like, sitting here just going, no, we don't know what you guys are talking about.
You don't... Like, I watched a lot of PBS. I watched a lot of PBS growing up. So like
shout out Wishbone.
No, not like cartoons, not like kid stuff PBS. I'm talking about like Masterpiece Theater.
You remember Red Light, Green Light?
No.
Red Light, Green Light was a British television show that would come on PBS.
No, Red Light, Green.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Red Green Show.
No,
that's a Canadian show I used to get on PBS up here.
Okay, Canadian. Okay, but they're kind of like Monty Python, kind of funny, It was, it's funny.
Do you remember Are You Being Served?
I believe so.
That was the one with the chick, the old lady with the purple hair. And then there was like an old dude, and it was like all took place in a British department store. There was also another one called A Thin Blue Line, I want to think. And it had Rowan Atkinson in it. And he was like the captain of the police department. And there was a guy from Africa in the show, and he was a constable. And he would almost like once an episode, he have a joke where he was trying to unzip his fly and pull his dick out, and as a part of the joke, like he'd do an impersonation of an elephant, and he'd just pull his pockets out of his pants and go to unzip his fly, and everybody like, no, I get it. You know what I mean? So there was like, it was an amazing show. You know what I mean? Like, to me, as a 13-year-old kid, I was all about fart jokes. So you know what I mean? So I actually did that impersonation to the vice president of Crown Distributing, the Budweiser. My buddy's like, we're talking to him, we're drunk. So I get off work one day and they're like, hey, there's burgers and beers. And I was like, cool, let's go. So I've got like, I don't know, 6 Hefeweizens down in a half an hour. And like, I got a hamburger in my hand. I'm not even eating it because I'm just drinking more beers. And the vice president is up there and we're talking and bullshitting about something. Oh, I think I told him about the time where I drugged one of the guys at the store. I drugged down on attached to a 6-wheeler. He was trying to kick me out of the store. He was trying to kick me out of the store for a day, and I was trying to get kicked out forever. So I one-handedly pushed him to the back. Anyway, so I'm telling him about that. My buddy, he's laughing about that. And then Chris is like, you should show him your elephant impersonation. I was like, yeah. So I dig it out and I go for it. And I'm going for my zipper. And he's just looking down like, yeah, pull it out, Haas. Like, and I'm like, this is where you're supposed to tell me. You get it. And he's like, oh, yeah. So he was like, he's like, oh yeah, I bet you won't do it. You know what I mean? He was calling my bluff. Jerk.
The moral of the story is that's why you don't pull your junk out at work.
Hey.
James Dernall asked, do the Hawks make the playoffs again this year? NFC is pretty weak. Yes, I do.
I would say so.
I think we're making a good push for the division this year. I really do. And that's no disrespect towards the 49ers, but I really think towards the end of the year we'll be making a push towards the division.
So you don't think Gino's going to do what he did earlier in his career and take a step back?
I don't think so, because every step back you saw I take would be game to game. It wouldn't be season to season.
I feel like, how do you go from shit in the bed all that time to then actually, laying a foundation and actually doing some work to then turn around and go back to shitting the bed when I think, it clicked. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's something clicked, and it finally clicked for him. I don't see how he unclicks it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's a prima donna or, like, I deserve this or anything like that. Like, I don't have to do homework, Kyler Murray.
So he won NFL Comeback Player of the Year. He didn't show up to the award ceremony. Could you ever see Russell Wilson doing that? No. He would be in the limelight, right? Say Russ wins Comeback Player of the Year. He will be in the limelight wearing his silver suit. Gino goes, no, I'm fine. Geno Smith has been married for 10 years. Nobody knows who his wife is. Like, he's not posting about her all the time.
Well, his wife's probably not a superstar either. I mean,
I don't care who your wife is. I mean, honestly.
But that's a good point. Why do we know who Tom Brady's wife was, or who it is, or he could be potentially
power couple
dating Taylor Swift here soon? Like, why do we need to know this kind of stuff, right?
She better not date Tom Brady.
It's not
better date Tom Brady. That's going to be a hell of an album after they break up. Sorry, Brian.
No, that's funny, right? It's like, you make a good point. So with Geno Smith, he's not the same Geno Smith that he was when he first came into the league. He's been humbled a couple times. If you don't know, I'm going to tell you, his jaw was broken in the locker room. They got into a fight and someone punched him in the face. And if you get punched in the face, 1, why? 2, why? 3, bro, you just got punched in the face. Like
By
you
an
couldn't,
offensive
like,
lineman, he wouldn't. So
but you know
Gino
what I'm
wouldn't
getting
give him.
at? Like you can
Gino
I
wouldn't
argue,
give
like
him
to get
$300.
I like to get punched in the face every now and then.
but you can argue with somebody, right? And then you can like choose to de-escalate the situation, or yeah, you can continue to argue. Like these guys weren't drunk in the locker room. These guys got really emotional with each other, and then what happened? He's no longer in the Jets locker room. He's still in the locker room, but he's now wearing the blue, right? He didn't finish his career there, so now he comes to the blue and green. You know, like I don't know, maybe he got something happened in New York, but now he's a Seahawk and he wears both colors, and he seems to be
Kelly
working.
Green isn't good with
You know what I mean?
that's
I
the
mean,
Eagles.
he seems to have come in and he's been doing good. I think the Seahawks will do really good if he stays healthy. If he
And
goes
he's
down,
and he's another guy that took not another guy. He is a guy. There's not many of them that took a team friendly deal. Derek Carr didn't take a team friendly deal.
nope.
You know, he's making $25 million a year, which sounds like a lot to you and me, but for an NFL starting quarterback, it's not. It's not even
Daniel
close.
Jones makes 40.
Yeah,
Exactly. And I'll take Gino over Daniel Jones.
and
I would
James,
take Gino over Daniel Jones too.
James,
Let's
it did
be
happen.
fair.
It did happen in New York when he was drafted. The reason he got benched is there was a locker room argument, and his jaw was broken, and I think he had to go on the IR after that. And then after that, he wasn't in. He was still in New York. He just wasn't a Jet. And that's kind of neat, you know. Like if you don't play for the Jets, at least you don't have to leave. You might even get your same locker if you work out, you know. Like that would be messed up, wouldn't it? You know, like you're not a Jet, but your stuff's still hanging up in the same locker. Like, just I don't know.
McNiner, I'll get to you. We're about to close things out. I'm sorry if that's okay with you guys.
Me and McNiner's going live after this. We still got things to talk about.
McNiner, what are you?
Are you really?
I guess, what?
Are you guys really
No.
going live after this? Oh, okay. I was gonna say
It might
everybody
be fun, huh?
hit the link.
What are you looking forward to most this season? Like, I guess just ready for football to be back. What are you most excited for?
Probably when it comes down to it, the Eagles game is what I'm most excited for, but we got to get there first.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited to see what this team can do with a full season of CMC.
Okay.
Yep.
Ryan, you?
I don't know. It's been a hell of a day. Not really. It just I just want number 6, man.
Yeah.
And I want an off season without quarterback drama. That's why when you said it'll all be over in 2 weeks, will it though?
No.
Will it?
If he's playing like a champ. Maybe
Yeah,
it will.
if and he stays healthy, and if he does another thing, and if like we don't need another quarterback for some reason, it's just not. This is, I swear, this is just like a. I don't know if Brock Purdy's the fix or a Band-Aid.
You'll find out.
Yeah.
With that, everybody, we'd like to say thanks for joining in. It's been an eventful night, especially for you guys. Like I said, I don't really envy you guys right now. I think us in Seahawkville, we're just kind of just waiting for week 1. Knocking on wood that no injuries happen this weekend, no big injuries. And then hopefully you guys will have Nick Bosa back. We didn't even get to that. So, yeah, maybe next time, you guys. With that, I will see you guys Friday night, right?
All things go good. We'll be there.
Yep.
Yep. Friday night, 6.
Remember, Kyle can't guarantee we'll be here on Sunday, but Friday's closer
Well,
than
hey.
Sunday.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Go Niners and F the Lambs.